In a report from the Center on Disease Control, it is stated that more than 350,000 cases of measles were reported from around the world in 2011, with outbreaks in the Pacific, Asia, Africa, and Europe. In that same year, 90% of measles cases in the United States were associated with cases imported from another country. Only the fact that most Americans are vaccinated against measles prevented these clusters of cases from becoming epidemics. Now, these outbreaks could have been completely prevented had more of the population been vaccinated against this disease. Vaccines are a great tool that have saved lives and continue to save lives around the world. They're a blessing that we've been given to be able to protect our families. Many people are unconcerned about theirs and their families' vaccination records because it is not too often that we see such outbreaks, but they pop up in our society with higher frequency the less we're vaccinated. We simply don't think about these diseases on a day-to-day basis, as was the case before vaccinations were available. The government vaccine website says knowing which vaccines you need is an important step toward protecting your health and that of your family and friends. Getting vaccines on time helps prevent illness before you're exposed. Why should we need an outbreak scare to get us to protect our families? As I have researched vaccines and outbreaks, I've seen a correlation to something we often see in the Book of Mormon. We talk about it often on many subjects. This is the pride cycle. Now, with diseases taking lives, we have been given this amazing blessing of having vaccines. With high vaccination rates, we no longer see much or any of these diseases. Because life is so good, we fail to see why we need the protection, and yet this only brings us back to the beginning again as we stop vaccinating. The CDC has noted in 1974 about 80% of Japanese children were getting pertussis vaccine, the whooping cough vaccine. That year, there were only 393 cases of whooping cough in the entire country, and not a single related death to pertussis. Then immunization rates began to drop until only about 10%, previously 80%, of children were being vaccinated. In 1979, more than 13,000 people got whooping cough and 41 died. When routine vaccination was resumed, the disease numbers dropped again. The chances of your child getting a case of measles or chickenpox or whooping cough might be quite low today, but vaccinations are not just for protecting ourselves and are not just for today. They also protect the people around us, some of whom may be unable to get certain vaccines or might have failed to respond to a vaccine or might be susceptible for other reasons. They also protect our children and children's children and their children by keeping diseases that we have almost defeated from making a comeback. What would happen if we stopped vaccinations? We could soon find ourselves battling epidemics of diseases we thought we had conquered decades ago. I interviewed a public health nurse from Arizona who also happens to be my mother, Julie Larson. When I asked her the most important thing we could do to protect our children from diseases, she said, "Take your family to the health department with your vaccine records and go through if you and your family are up on all vaccines. We can help educate you on the pros and cons of each vaccine. Find out what vaccines you and your children are missing and need boosters for as well. If there are ways to safeguard my family, I would take every precaution." We are so blessed to live in this country that has so much available to us in regards to food, clean water, medical care, and all. We sometimes think that vaccines are really only necessary and good for those in third world countries. When it comes to our children, I am sure that everyone wants to be able to use every preventative measure to be sure of the safety of their little ones. The First Presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints officially stated, "We urge members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to protect their own children through immunization." Then they may wish to join other public-spirited citizens in efforts to eradicate ignorance and apathy that have caused the disturbingly low levels of childhood immunization. Failure to act could subject untold thousands to preventable lifelong physical or mental impairment, including paralysis, blindness, deafness, heart damage, and mental retardation. Immunization campaigns in the United States and other nations, if successful, will end much needless suffering and erase the potential threat of epidemics. Such efforts are deserving of our full support. We have a responsibility as Latter-day Saints, as well as being parents, to take every precaution for the safety of our children. The Family, a Proclamation to the World, states, husbands and wives, mothers and fathers, will be held accountable before God for the discharge of these obligations. I am so thankful that we have inspired words from church leaders to give us some sound advice through the Spirit on so many aspects of life. I urge everyone, no matter your age or circumstances, to simply make a family appointment with your health practitioner or with your local health department to go over the vaccine records, get updated on vaccines, and get further information on preventative measures to care for your loved family.